Well, it's not often I get to be joined by a Hall of Famer, a legend in the sport of basketball. When someone reels off to you in terms of scoring champion, rebound leader, blocks leader, two-time NBA winner, and twice Olympic gold medalist as well, what does that make you feel in terms of how your career was as a whole?
It's mind-boggling to sit and listen, think about all those things I was a part of. I mean, I was fortunate to have a long enough career where I could experience all those things, and you know, you get the Olympic high of getting gold medal, and then you got the championship high of winning. So I feel like I've been able to experience almost all those things in basketball, which is great.
Listening to you in the Q&A, you talk about how it's almost been a 25-year journey. You've had the ups, the downs, you've seen the highlights and the low points.
Absolutely.
We go into another season of great NBA action, and obviously the NBA world was changed again with LeBron James joining the Lakers.
Yeah.
What do you kind of feel in terms of when you see what's arguably the best player join such a historic franchise?
You know, it's a marriage made in heaven. I mean, you know, LeBron is, he's the center of attention. You know, you name yourself the king, you're the center of attention. And I mean, he's amazing. His last couple of years, he's played at a level I've seen very few players ever play at. So that's been remarkable. Lakers have a young team, so it'll be very interesting to see what he's able to do with that young core. With Golden State standing over there, though, in the wings, it's going to be tough. And I think Houston's going to be very good as well. So I'm very curious to see what LeBron can do in that environment. You know, then maybe I could crown him the best of all time if he can take that team and actually beat the Warriors.
You obviously understand what it's like to lead a team. How far can LeBron James take this young Laker core in terms of towards a championship?
You know, that's very interesting. It's hard to say. So some of those young guys have only been there a couple of years, and they're talented. You know, got a LeVar Ball and you know, gosh, the big forward Brandon. Yeah, Brandon's a phenomenal young player, but still young. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do. I don't think so. It's just, it takes a lot of maturity. It takes a lot of, you know, teamwork. You got to figure out how to work together, and it may take them a little while to figure out how to work with LeBron, but they'll be competitive. They'll be right up in the mix. You know, I think that beating the Warriors, though, is going to be hard for anybody. I don't care who it is, but I do think the Lakers will be in the top 10 somewhere.
Speaking of, obviously, the Warriors, they are the cornerstone of basketball right now. Everybody's trying to almost follow their model in terms of how they've created and reinvented basketball.
Which should be smart. They've been amazing. I mean, the way they've done it has been somewhat organic, and they've been a little bit fortunate in signing, you know, Durant, and you know, and now Boogie Cousins. But I mean, they drafted the right guys. They've trained those guys. They've kept the team together. That reminds me of the Spurs, and reminds me of building a team the right way, and you know, having something that can last a long period of time.
So many analysts have kind of described and looked at what Golden State have done, have kind of thrown a kind of bit of shade towards them. Obviously, having 5 technically all-stars on their team.
Yeah.
What's your?
There's no. I mean, what do you say? The team was smart enough to get 5 all-stars. I mean, how can you throw shade at that? I mean, they've done nothing wrong. You know, they've done everything right, and even bringing in, you know, a guy like Steve Kerr, who's a quality guy, smart guy, Spurs background. But I mean, it's all the pieces have come together nicely. I think the ownership has made wise decisions. You look at some teams, they can't do anything right, and this is a team that's managed to do everything right over the last 6 or 7 years. So. Yeah, I don't know how anybody could throw shade at those guys. I think they've been incredibly intelligent. They've had success that, you know, everyone should be envious of. You know, maybe not quite the long-term success yet. How do we keep Klay Thompson? How do you keep Draymond? How do you keep those guys when they come up as free agents? I don't know, but we'll see. But they've done a great job in the short term.
Speaking of franchises, obviously, I know the Spurs mean a lot to you as a whole. They've had a huge transition this offseason, obviously. Retirement of Manu Ginobili. Kind of talk about the impact that's going to have now as all of those senior core players kind of change. And now,
I mean, it's like a vacuum. You know, when Tim Duncan leaves the room, then, you know, Kawhi leaves the room, and Tony leaves the room, and Manu leaves the room.
Danny Green as well.
And Danny Green. That's how much experience is that leaving your locker room? So it's crazy. it's crazy to think that we'll be at that same level, going into the season. But we do still have LaMarcus, who's phenomenal. DeMar DeRozan's phenomenal. We got some great young guys, like Patty Mills, who've been there for a while. We got guys who know how to play basketball. So we will definitely be one of those top teams. Will we be competitive for the championship? Who knows? I think that's the challenge, and that's the challenge that I think every team faces this year.
It's so important you talk about the championship as a whole. Obviously, that's almost been embedded in the Spurs
it's
culture.
the expectation now.
Of course.
Yeah.
What do you see Pop kind of doing now as he's kind of circled these last couple of years? Yeah. What do you kind of see Pop doing now? Do you see him kind of rejuvenating this young core and trying to make them to a level? Or do you still see him going with these senior players and saying we can compete, we can go out there?
I think he has a nice mix. I think he understands the idea of culture and what it means to build that right culture where guys come in, they know what they're supposed to do. The expectation is there, even for those young guys. They know what they need to do because they see the mature guys doing it. I think we still have that. So I think Pop is confident that we can go out there and be competitive every single night. And when you get to that point, there's only a few little things that make a difference whether you could be a champion or not, right? You got to execute down the stretch. You got to, make big shots, find somebody who's going to rise to the occasion. There's all those little things, right? Course, yeah. And we've got, we know that DeMar can do it, right? We know he can make big shots. We know that LaMarcus can do it. We know Patty Mills can make big shots. We know we've got guys who can do those things. The question is, how are we going to put it together? We're going to make it happen. So it's exciting. I think a lot of people are disappointed because there's been so much change. But to me, it's exciting because I think these young guys are going to be fantastic. And they know they've learned the system. They've been there several years. Yeah, we're not going anywhere.
You obviously are still a huge part of that franchise. You're still a core, instrumental part in the decisions that happen on the court and off the court. Yeah. Talk about that Kawhi situation, because there's been so much has been said and not said as well around that whole incident.
Yeah, it's been a mess. I think the biggest thing there was miscommunication. You have to, and that's one of the things I think we've excelled at over the years, is being very open, and players being able to talk to coaches, coaches being able to talk to players. Everyone's been pretty much on the same page. And so to see this situation where here's one guy where we're not on the same page with, and everybody's a little surprised, nobody really knows what's happening. So it was very frustrating, I think, for everyone involved. I mean, fans, players, management, everyone was frustrated because we didn't understand. And then, to wake up and find out I'm so unhappy I want to leave, that was unusual. We haven't had a lot of guys wake up and say, I just want to leave because I'm not happy in the culture here. That was, so we were kind of caught off guard, everybody.
It was strange.
And it was very strange. But the young fella Kawhi is ridiculously talented. He's one of those rare talents that, you hate to see leave your team because you can't replace that guy, right? What he does, you can't replace. So it's painful for us to see him go, but I mean, you can't make somebody enjoy something they don't enjoy, right? Now, it seemed like it was a good time for him to follow in Tim's footsteps, to become a leader and to do all the things, you kind of think succession, right? Yeah. You grow. But, he wanted a different feel. And so that was, it was difficult. It was, I think from the fans' perspective, from everyone's perspective, it was very difficult. We did not want to lose Kawhi, but we have now moved on, and we were blessed to get some great players in exchange. DeMar is at that point too, where he's got some great experience. He knows that, hey, it's his turn to be a leader, right? He gets to come down to maybe the best organized franchise in the league and be a leader. That's pretty awesome.
Under one of the best coaches as well.
Under a great coach. So it's a prime opportunity for DeMar to really become that guy, go to that next level. I mean, he's already an all-star. Now you want to be a great, right? You want to be one of the game's greats. He can do that.
Do you feel like in today's generation of NBA players, because of the money, because of the higher player control, do you feel like these players are kind of utilizing their power a lot more? I mean, you're seeing what Jimmy Butler's doing.
Oh, absolutely.
In Minnesota.
And I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, I think it's great that, number one, that guys are making more money. I'd rather see, money in the hands of the players. I mean, they're out there, they're doing the work. And, for me, I think they're the guys that will go back and put it back into their community. So I like the fact that they have more opportunity, more voice. The problem is when you get more voice, you got to be more mature to handle that, right? You got to know what if you got a chance to say something, you got to know what you're going to say. So, I think that's part of the growing pain now, is some of the young guys are figuring out how to handle that opportunity, but they're getting better at it. And I like the direction of the league right now. Sports is blowing up everywhere, media-wise. From a business standpoint, everything is going very, very well. And so, it's a good thing. I mean, they just have to figure out how to manage that new opportunity that they've been given.
David, obviously, I had a little chance to see today. You have a good relationship with Thierry.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully he's converted you into an Arsenal fan as well at the
Yeah,
same
no,
time.
absolutely. It was my first Premier League game, watching Arsenal, and I had a blast. It was a lot of fun.
I'm sure you're also aware that obviously one of Arsenal's biggest rivals is Spurs.
I wore my Spurs shirt to the game,
Conflict
and
of
then
interest.
I realized I better cover up the Spurs. These people don't know that my Spurs are different than So that was funny. It was a very, very interesting dynamic. But since Arsenal got a hold of me now, I'm a fan now, and I'm going to follow the team, and so that's my hate to go against the name of Spurs, but you know what?
It is what it is.
It is what it is, right?
Okay. Well, I thought we could have a little bit of fun. Obviously, it's good to kind of test your knowledge against the Spurs players that we have here, against obviously the legends of the Spurs players that we have in America.
Okay.
So I'm just going to ask you a quick few fire questions.
Okay.
Just tell me which one you think comes to mind first.
All right.
If I asked you the Tottenham Hotspurs and I asked you the San Antonio Spurs, who do you think has more Instagram followers?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I would say, soccer being the worldwide sport, I go with Tottenham.
You are correct.
Oh, okay.
That's not a bad
What are the
start.
numbers?
2.8 and 2.3.
Oh,
which isn't far.
very close. Not
That
too
isn't
bad.
far.
Not too bad.
Okay. If we're talking about Facebook followers or Facebook likes, who do you think has more likes? Tottenham Hotspur or San Antonio Spurs?
Oh, San Antonio. I mean, our franchise, I would think that, people have a very positive feel for the Spurs.
I regret to inform you.
Oh, man. Wow.
It hurts me as much as it hurts you.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I got to go see what Tottenham's putting out there. They must be, they must have a great reputation.
Of course, of course. Now, what people don't know about you is that you're actually a maths major yourself, obviously.
A math major, that's right.
So I can give you a little equation and you turn around and tell me who you feel.
Okay.
Yeah. If San Antonio Spurs play 3 home games
Okay.
in 1 week, sold out every game, every seat is gone. Yeah, and Tottenham, with their new stadium they'll be moving into, which will be the biggest stadium in London, who do you think will have more fans at the end of the week?
Oh man, easily Tottenham. I mean, we can get 60,000 people in the week, and I'm sure they can get probably 180,000 or so in there. I don't know, how big is the new stadium?
60,000.
I'll see.
Just over.
Okay.
But the AT&T, and obviously in San Antonio, is just under 18. So
I
see you. I see you. You put the mathematician good together.
We run a little short on that.
Obviously, talking about your background history as well, obviously I know you're a proud Navy man yourself.
Yes.
I want to have a little bit more fun with you and kind of see if you could tell me whether or not these famous faces are Army or Navy backgrounds.
Okay.
Ready?
We could try.
All right, let's give this a go. Yeah, we'll see what we have fun with this.
Hopefully I know the Navy guy.
Oh, no,
We'll see.
you should know the Navy guy straight off the bat. So if everyone can see at home, if you can tell me you know who that is, Morgan Freeman.
Yes, of course. That's got to be an Army face. I don't know. I'd say Army.
Army?
I'd have to say Army on that one.
You are correct.
All right,
Freeman
there
is
we
an
go.
Army man.
Yes, yes.
Now, there's a little bit of a closer to him. If you're a little bit younger, this is one of the biggest hip-hop stars of all time, MC Hammer.
MC Hammer.
So, talk to me.
You know,
Army
I
or
should
Navy?
know this because I'm actually friends with him, so I don't know, though, but I'm going to have to say Army for him.
Oh my gosh, MC Hammer is a Navy man like yourself.
Man, I should have got that. You know
Okay.
what? Oh, man. I'm going to have to apologize. to
Last
him later.
one, may he rest in peace.
He's got the Navy hat on. That
Hugh
might give it away a little
Yeah.
bit.
Talk to me. Who you
I
thinking?
don't know. He's got the sailor hat on. I'm going to have to go Navy on that one.
Believe it or not, he's an Army man.
Oh, see, that's too tricky.
It's not a bad.
See,
at all.
I'm not close friends with Hugh Hefner. I wasn't close friends with Hugh Hefner, so I have an excuse at least there.
I like that. I like that. Obviously, the NBA is growing as a concept all the time, and they're trying to become a global game. And
Yeah.
just talk about obviously as an ambassador, obviously coming into London for NBA UK.
Yeah.
What does that feel like? Obviously, watching the game grow so much over your 25 years.
Yeah, I've watched internationally, just phenomenal. I was in Israel recently, and they love NBA there. I was in Shanghai You know, Chinese love basketball. They get 2 games a year out there, and they love it. And Australia last year for NBA Basketball Without Borders, the game is developed tremendously. We have several Australian players in the NBA now, and I can see the pipeline is going to feed us some more. So it is growing everywhere. And so being able to come out here, particularly to London, and see the game at its roots and to see how can we help grow the game. It's a wonderful game, obviously. We love it. It's you know, how do we build coaches? How do we build players, pipelines for players? So that's exciting to me, and that's what I'm getting to do out here. I'm
going to have just a final one with you. Now, in England, we have this game that we call five-a-side, which is obviously a football game. I would love to know who your dream five-a-side would be on an NBA court.
Wow.
And I want positions too.
You know what? I was on the dream team, so I actually had like my dream guys. So I've had, let's see, my power forward, I'd take Tim Duncan.
Have to be.
Great power forward. And then my point guard, man, you know what? Point guard's a tough one. I'd have to go with maybe Magic Johnson on the point guard. I like the fact that he liked to get the ball to the big fellas. That's a good one. And then 2 guard, I'd say Michael Jordan. But I don't know if I could get enough shots on that one. I don't know. He'd take all the shots. He's, you know, so I don't know. There are a lot of great 2 guards. Wow, that's a tough one. I like LeBron and what he's done recently. I like Kobe. I'd probably go with Kobe at 2 and maybe LeBron at 3.
Leave MJ on the bench.
Well, MJ only because MJ was a one-man. He was like an incredible one-man show.
Of course.
And you know, I want to touch the ball sometimes.
You want to
I want to take some shots.
I like that. And who would you have? You'll have yourself at center, LeBron at small forward.
I assumed that you were. I assumed that I had to take me at center.
I was just asking you.
If I could take another center, I mean, I would go with Bill Russell. I mean, he's a legend. I mean, are you kidding me? I have a tremendous amount of respect for Bill, so he'd probably be my number 1 center.
Okay. Well, David, it's been an absolute pleasure, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, it's the closest I've also been to the
trophy.
You've obviously had the pleasure of touching.
Hoisted it once or twice.
You can catch all of the NBA action here at Sky Sports.